Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Design Cinema. This is Feinzu speaking, and this is episode what is it, 61, right? So I thought the real-time video last week did, or not last week, a few weeks ago, did pretty well. Seems like the response from that is overall pretty positive. So I thought I'd just do one more. I'm still gonna do an environment one because I think it's just something I want to do today, and maybe the next one we'll do is definitely not something environment. We'll try to get it to a character or a creature or something like that. And I'm also gonna do something kind of fun this week. Let's just start with a cool video because it's something that's quite common these days, which is the redesign of very classic games. Right, all these publishers they bought these games like years ago, and they're now remaking them. So it's quite a big trend in the gaming space right now. So I thought I'll do a episode on that, and we'll do this in real time, right? So that way we could kind of talk our way through it. So here's a game that I played when I was young, and I used to play a lot of games. Let's play the video first. Some of you guys might know what this game is. So I'm gonna reduce the audio here. So this is I think this game came out. Oh man, I'm not sure. This is called Flashback. Came out, man, 95, 94, 93. It's got to be somewhere around then, on the PC. So you guys could take a look at the intro. Really cool. I think they call it vector graphics or something like that, right? But it's cool. But it's very old school. Right? This guy's got a hover bike. Let me turn the sound down. MIDI sounds, right? Like a few bits. But it's cool though, this guy's got the hover bike and these police guys are all like animating as if they're in water for some reason. This guy's getting chased. Alright, I'm gonna turn the audio way low here. I don't even know if the audio is being recorded into Design Cinema right now. They get shot down and oh no, it crashes into a jungle. Alright, and let me fast forward here. So here's the awesome intro. Look how old school this is, like Nintendo. Guy wakes up. This game was brutal. I don't think I ever played this too far because it's super hard. These games back in the days, like they don't handhold you like today's games, where like you have like regenerating health and bulletproof crates and all these kind of things that just make sure you don't die. Back in the days, like you have 3 lives. Remember that? The old school guys watching this video probably know. Like after 3 times, that's it. You start the entire game from scratch. You can't even save them. You know what I'm saying? These kind of brutal games, but it's kind of fun. And I think for because of that reason, a lot of these games are embedded into our memory because we played the same level like 10,000 times, to try to pass it. But anyways, for me, I think it's kind of fun to go back to some of these nostalgic IPs that I grew up with, and let's do a redesign of this game as if we're gonna remake it. And I'm still gonna keep it a side scroller, but I'm gonna make it a 2.5D side scroller. So what that means is that we're gonna play this game from a third-person perspective, probably a little bit behind the game player. So that's you. Let's play this a little bit. Let's turn the sound off here. So that's you. It's kind of like a puzzle platforming game, but it's extremely brutal with some puzzle solving. Like you have to pick up some stuff and insert into some other device and something opens a door. But it's a 2D side scroller, right? We're gonna make it into a 2.5D. So we just change the perspective, so you still walk around as if you're in a side scroll game, but the perspective has more 3D. You guys will see when I started the painting here. So anyway, yeah, that's me. But let's fast forward this. Let's take a look at the technology, or the design styles of this game, because that is something that's required by us when we redesign these IPs. Right? So what we do is we kind of flash through these, and I hope this game's not being remade. I have no idea. So if it is, then it's complete coincidence. Okay, I'm not working on a remake of Flashback, and I have no idea if it is being remade. So I'm just picking this game because it's something I played in the past. Right? And I've done this in the past. Maybe later I'll show you guys some other shots I've done for fun of other IPs. So, but let's take a look at the technology. So this guy's in some kind of jungle environment with some kind of alien like plants. Some of these plants don't follow current biological plants, right? This one almost looks like a alien kind of Geiger-ish kind of design here, but kind of cool. There's these wooden tribal things going on over here. And let's see what else we got here. And we'll get the drawing soon, but this requires research. If we're going to do a redesign, we have to know what the original IP has. So hanging leaves, there's definitely some kind of technology with some jungle growth in this corner. And I hope this is all being recorded. If not, we're seeing a black screen. That'll be kind of sad. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause this video right now, or stop it, and then check the video to make sure this is actually being recorded, and I'll be right back. All right, hold on 1 second. Alright, so this is Faye. I'm back and I've checked the audio. So yeah, these videos are actually being recorded, so I don't have to worry about that, except the sound is not being recorded. So you guys are not hearing the old school MIDI sounds. But anyways, let's just go through these. So there's some cool technology. This is kind of cool. A elevator with some warning stripes, the generic factory warning stripes. There's a torch here, which is kind of neat. A lot of hanging ropes, and all these kind of things we try to bring into our concept. So we're gonna do what we call a proof of concept. These are things that is done to kind of convince other people out there, especially producers or people with money, or even audience, what your intention of this game is gonna look like, right? What the remake of this game look like, because you cannot just describe it. You can't describe to an investor, oh yeah, it's this game, but now it's in 3D and we're kind of walking around. But how does that look like? Are we keeping a color palette, or are we updating everything? What are we doing? So we're gonna do a painting that describes the vision of what we're trying to achieve. So look at some bad dudes. All right. So anyways, let's start this guy. So we don't have to keep looking at a video, and we'll keep this around. I'll keep this open in the top here. Let me open up these two files that I've saved. So I just got these off of Google, some screenshots, and because these games are super old, that's the resolution that these games are in. All right, very low res. This one's almost too distorted. So let's just use this one. It's quite good, and this got everything we want. It's got the plants, it's got the leaves, it's got the colors, it's got the dude. So we could just use this to get started. And because we're doing a remake, I'm gonna keep the colors exactly the same. So I'm just gonna color pick directly from the image. So I'm just gonna you could probably see my layers here. So I'm just gonna just start the initial thing without any layers, just to kick it off. All right. So I'm color sampling directly. I'm gonna shrink this down. It does to be that big. All right. So let's just let's paint this out. So let's see here. I'm gonna do a energy flow here. I'm gonna do this in 3D. So this guy's gonna make it run into the jungle. So we want these awesome looking tree branches to have an energy flow, to go from a potential energy here on the lower left into a kinetic energy burst as we go out. So that'll give us a nice little thrust of energy in terms of painting structure. All right, so I'm gonna just thrust this big branch over, and that's going to explode all the way over there. These are branches that explode out. Right, so think of it as a bomb. You're talking about these trees. They have a very good rhythmic flow through them that has energy, and I want to capture that as we paint. All right. So you can see I'm just sampling the colors directly. So I'm using the color palette of the original screenshot actually. So that way, whoops, wrong color. That way, if it is being looked at by someone who understands this game, hopefully without looking at the original screenshot, they will know what this is from. Okay, so we'll try to do that as best as we can. Some of you guys who are older, my age, you'll know this game. If you are born in the late 90s or early 2000s, you probably have no idea what this is, but who cares? It's fun stuff. And you guys might play versions of these games. Actually, a lot of the games that are coming out today are these remakes of games I grew up with, like Syndicate and what else? XCOM, that's pretty recent, right? These are all very, very old games that I grew up in high school playing. All right. So there's another branch. Let's make this branch a little bit thicker, a little bit more. Whoops, wrong color. The color picker in Photoshop, I mentioned this before, is very, very picky in the new versions. So I'm trying to pick that kind of almost black color here, but it's giving me not the right color. So I'm going to do is I'm going to enlarge this a little bit. See, because you can see it's pixels. If I zoom in, it's all a bunch of pixels. So if I don't hit that exact brown, I'm getting the green. Right? So at a tiny scale, I'm not getting a very accurate pick. I think you can set the color picker to pick up wider range. So, but for now, I'll deal with it. Right. Lighting wise, this is a jungle set. So I want that mystery forest lighting, which involves kind of shadow and light playing off of each other. I'm also going to cool the shadows off. I'm going to borrow some nice cools from the rendering. It's a little too blue. And cool off this section by applying a little bit of blue, a little bit of dark, and I'm going to pre-mix our cool shadows from that. All right, get some of this in there. These are cylinders, so we're going to get some nice bounce, some nice greens. Let's get some of this aqua color in there. All right, let's just quickly knock this out. This tree's going to go over there. Just really knock that stuff out. Let's turn this over. All right, there's some nice branches going over here, some more cools. All right, get that in there. Oops, wrong color, who cares? And what I want to do is within the first few minutes start to capture the feel and mood of this place. There's jungle stuff in the back, so just indicate with some colors. Cool. That twisty jungle material, that's a nice green. I'm going to try to bring that in here. Just kind of a very cheerful green color. Put it in the sunlight. I'm going to have some spot of light hit these areas. This guy's still too bright for where it's at, so let's darken him down. And then trees are really fun to draw, and albeit a design or even an illustration, they're just fun stuff to draw. They're one of those subject matters that I think everyone appreciates, to draw like an old tree with a lot of branches on it. It's just fun stuff for your pen to move across, because they're kind of organic in a way, very got some very nice shapes flowing through. So I'm going to try to capture that as well in mind. These are tree branches going in and out. Let me save. Right, so this is it's painting real time here, so there's no fast forward whatsoever. There's some nice yellows in the paint as well that I'm gonna try to bring in a second here. This guy is not reading too rounded, so let's round this guy off a little bit to make sure that we are definitely dealing with a tree branch. I still don't like the fact that this image is not cool enough. The shadows are not cool. So I'm gonna, but so far I haven't mixed any colors that's outside of the color palette from the original source. Later I might have to do some color tweaking to mix my own colors, because I'm not getting a very wide range. Because this one, I think there's only 16 colors or something like that, right? These old school, like 8-bit games or something like that, they have very little bit color count, maybe 16, 32 colors, I'm not exactly sure, but that's not the best place to mix your color from, since you only have a few. But I'll start it with that, you know, it will get me halfway there. So, because it's not bad, but this color is very, very basic. But let's bring in some of the yellow. Let's bring in that nice spot of yellow, nice hot highlight to light up my path. So you can see that if this is a game, they are dropping the character as well. We'll be running this game still like a platformer. So let me just block in the do. So like there's will be a guy right here. So as you run forward, this will scroll this way like a side scroller, but it's moving in 3D space. So I think that'll look kind of neat as a side scroller game. So I always thought that would be a good thing to do for a lot of this, you know, the old school side games. I think the Sonic game, the recent Sonic game, did something like that. I don't know how successful that was. I haven't played it, but I always thought that these side scrollers would do pretty well in a kind of 2.5D view. You know, games like Abe's Odyssey or Super Ghosts and Ghouls and these type of IPs, because you get to experience the world a little bit more in it, right? The player, you're a little bit more in the 3D space when you do that. So I'm watching the time. So far we're 7 minutes in, not counting the first 5 minutes that I paused. So still doing pretty good on time. Let's try to put in the that alien branch stuff. I'm gonna get a few more colors that I want. I want that color. All right, let's put that in here. This kind of deeper greens. Put it over here. Let's take a look. Zoom out. Reminds me a little bit of the Disney Tarzan stuff. They have some beautiful production pieces on that movie, which also deals with tree branches in these kind of similar configurations. All right, but I'm gonna try to make this a little bit more alien, have more stuff going in. Maybe one here to cut that perspective out. Let's do another one coming in. All right, I want to have a nice energy flow. The point of these paintings are, again, development painting is meant to kind of sell the concept, right? Proof of concept paintings. And they're done a lot these days on a lot of video games, because games cost a lot of money these days. You can't simply just go, yeah, let's just make this game and put 80 million bucks in it. You know, they're not gonna do that. They're gonna have to go through a stage in which a lot of people get on board and decide, is that what we do? Do we commit the next 4.5 years and 80 million bucks making this game? You know, it's a big business now. When I first started, games, you know, $1 million would be considered a ton of money to make a game. I think 5 million was considered a big budget game back in the days. Nowadays, you easily see the 80, $90 million budgets, and so that becomes pretty serious. I don't think anybody want to lose that much money when they invest in it. So there's a lot of these proof of concepts that studio make you do, and I work on a lot of them. And the unfortunate thing is, a lot of them actually gets killed because it gets to maybe a few months in, and the execs thinks that, you know what, I don't think this game is going to work. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't think our demographic is not going to buy this game, so scratch it. You know, so there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. But who cares? Because you have fun doing it. Right? I worked on equally amount of stuff that shipped. I think sometimes more products that never shipped. So, and some of them go for pretty long. You could work on them for a few years before they hit the market, and you might think they're dead. You know. Let's do a few more. I'm going to do just a few more branches. So this is coming together pretty nicely. I'm going to do a value check on this real quick. Let's do a real quick one here. All right, we're missing the brights. We get the darks in. Let's get a few more darks in. Let's put some atmosphere in this sucker. So I'm gonna use a little bit of a. Let's put that in. And right now in the original, there are some nice dangling plants, which I have not included. I'm gonna do a little quick level adjuster just to make it slightly darker. Because we are updating this. It's not like I'm going to stick with this color palette. This color palette is pretty flat, overall, so I'm not going to stick everything according to that palette. I'm going to get some, do I have any brush here that could give me some kind of cheesy leaf? This could work. I just want something that diversifies the stuff that's on the page here. Something that can indicate the looseness of leaves. So let's put some of this stuff in there. Just sprinkle all over the place. Alright, sprinkle that. Make some sounds as you paint. It's always fun. I haven't added the technology stuff in. I'll put that in a second. Which is the alien. I have no idea what the story is about in this game. I never got far enough, so I'm assuming it's like aliens or corporations or something. Their stuff. But some of the bad guys look like they're monsters, so I have no idea what's happening. Alright. This game, another game called Out of This World. You guys remember that? Some of you guys might know. I don't know if they're made by the same company, but they obviously felt exactly the same. This kind of rotoscoped animations that they used, like they drew on top of a real person walking or something. I think that's how they did it. So it looks very lifelike. It's getting a little bit more yellow, but they're extremely brutal. They're hard games because their controls are very fidgety. You're playing on a keyboard. There's no control pad. So you press left. I remember there's like a slight delay when you press a button versus the movement on the screen. So you have to play everything with a half-second delay in mind. So, right. But it's very fun to go back to these because as I'm painting this, there's a little bit of nostalgia, and it gives you kind of a theme to start with. So you're not painting in the blind. Sometimes it's quite difficult to start a painting with a blank canvas and not really know what your goals are. So this way, at least you're painting something, and also this thing is so old, you have to pretty much put a lot of design work into it. It's not like let's take Skyrim or something and paint a fan art. That becomes fan art. You're not redesigning anything because the game is already very, very well defined. Things like this, this is relatively well defined, but it's so old school, it's so ancient in terms of today's technology that you have to put a lot more work to update this thing over here. So you have to put in a lot of design work, but at the same time it is controlled for you to a certain degree. So, and that makes it fun. Alright, put that stuff in. Put some bounce lights on these roots. Alright, let's put some of the, let me put a few more roots before I put the human stuff in. This is starting to look pretty alright already to me. At least the composition, I like it. There's quite a bit of a good energy flow here. I still want the jungle stuff in the back to go away a little bit more. Right. So far, we're only a few minutes in, 13 minutes in, so it's not bad. I'll try to keep this relatively short-ish. Got lots to do today, so I gotta finish these things. Working with deadlines always the thing we're working against in this business. There's always something due in a short amount of time. I'm gonna open this up to a bigger screen here, so you guys can see the whole thing. Because right now at this point, I don't really need the reference anymore. It's served its purpose. Let's get some of this aqua blue to jump in. This is a very saturated color palette. I don't think I would have started the painting if I was doing this raw with this colors. But remember, I'm borrowing this from the original source, so people see this and go, yeah, that's flashback colors. I don't think I mentioned the game. The game is called Flashback. For those who are interested, you can look it up on Wikipedia and see when it was made. I believe it's the early 90s. All right, so I'm gonna put in some hints of structure. So let's put one. I'm gonna go back and take a look at this one real quick. All right, so it's like an elevator. Not elevator. Some kind of control thing here. Looks like a platform. All right, some dangly wire bits into some machinery. All right, cool. Let's put that in here. Let's see. And right now I have no layers. You guys can see my layer thing is right to the right there. So, because at this stage it's so early, there's no need to worry about that stuff. Because, in all seriousness, I've committed 14 minutes to this painting at this point. So if our director walks in or my client goes, that sucks, man, it's so stupid looking. Fine, then we'll start another one, you know what I'm saying? So all the layer management and stuff like that, does it really matter at that point? Not really. These are all production things. These are all tricks I picked up being in the business for a while. That you learn where to take shortcuts, when not to, when to take a risk, with no layers, and when to take a risk. When to control it with layers. These are all things that comes with experience and who you're working with as well. Alright, so here's some human inhabitant stuff. Let's put some bounce line in that sucker. Right, I'm actually going to sample that gray as well, which is going to come out very light, I think, if I sample it right now. So I'm going to sample it a little bit dark. The light's coming from kind of from the top down, kind of this forest lighting, to have the spots of light versus spots of shadow. So our horizon line most likely is somewhere right around here. I'm going to put my H line right there. So we're slightly below H line, so to make the shot a little bit more mysterious. That we're like deep in the forest kind of thing. I kind of want the light to come from, let me see. Because right now it's coming from top down, but I could suggest a shadow direction. That way I could get some nice cool. So I might make the shadows going this way, just tiny bit from the upper left. I think a tiny bit. Alright, let's put in more of these human or corporation type devices. I'm gonna break them out a little bit. So I'm gonna use a little bit of volumetric fog to do so. So let's just put one more piece here to offset. So it could be like a gateway or some kind of a stopping point for the player, so they can't go beyond this unless they have some kind of thing, some kind of lock or key thingamajig. I do think side scrolls in this view could be a little challenging because you can't see up or down. So, but if you design the game to maybe have some kind of control scheme to allow you to look up and down all around, maybe it'll work. I don't know. I love side scrollers. I don't make enough of them. I also like puzzle games, so which is also kind of not puzzle, venture. What do you call those things? You know, like the Monkey Island games. So later I'll show you some. I did a few Monkey Island repaints as well as Maniac Mansion. So the part 2 of Maniac Mansion. What's that called? The Tentacle. Day of the Tentacles. So I did a few of those. It's pretty fun. And I believe that the original creator guys, they actually saw those paintings, which is quite a trip because those games had a huge influence on me when I was growing up. I was just go home and finish my homework and just jump in on these very geeky thing, But that's why I'm doing this today. It's the childhood influence. All right, the first time I'm gonna start using a layer because I want to separate this thing out. And let's delete this sucker out. Blah. Okay. Trying to do this fast because so much stuff to do after I finish this busy schedule all the time. So, oh, by the way, speaking of that, we are planning some pretty cool stuff for our next. We're gonna revamp our website in the next few months. So it's a big job. We're redoing a lot of things to basically grow our company and grow this whole interaction with you guys. So don't worry, Design Cinema will still remain free. So we're not gonna charge money for these videos or anything. But what we're trying to build is we're gonna try to build a better community around it. Right now the community exists only on YouTube, and as you can tell, we cannot get to you guys' questions. It's impossible with 60 videos. Even if every day one question is asked per video, that is 60 questions a day. You're talking about that accumulation within 2 days up to 120, and then so it gets out of control very, very quickly for us that there's no way for us to get to anything. We can't even track it because there's so much stuff that's happening on a daily basis on these videos. So what we do is we want to start controlling that onto our own website. We're going to have Design Cinema there as well, so it's linked to YouTube, but we'll have our own comments and questions perhaps take place there. So that way we could have a little bit of control interaction, and maybe commonly asked questions could be grouped together and so forth. So that stuff we're all building, all to make it a little bit more fun for you guys to interact with us, right? So. In the meantime, please, all these are free. All we ask in return is tell your friends about it, promote us a little bit, subscribe to our videos, tell your friends who might be interested in this field, because all of this is trying to promote how cool concept art is out there and what this industry really is about, right? And show your parents, as well. So if you want to get into this business and they might not understand exactly what you do, hopefully this video could help a little bit to explain. Because it's so confusing, like my parents, they have no idea what I do still. It's so hard for parents who don't come from this kind of creative background to differentiate that what I do is not art at all. I'm making cell phones essentially for Apple. Right? It's the same thing. So we're making products here for someone to buy. We're not making pieces of art for someone to enjoy. Nobody cares. The guys playing Battlefield 3 on the internet, very few percent of that, I'm guessing, is down in the point percentile that cares what the concept art could look like. They care about the gameplay, right? So that's what we do. That's our job. Our job is to make games or make films, and the ultimate product is the one that audience really care about. Not this painting. Okay. You guys care about it because you guys want to do this for a living, but the general public don't. So it's always good to kind of promote our site to get the general public a little more involved, to know what we do. They might not even do this for a living, but just to know what we do helps. Right. Makes everything easier. All right, a few more. Save. Whoa, what did I do? Whoops, I merged it. Who cares? All right, let's put some light on this sucker. Let me bring this into full screen here so I can see this very, very clearly. Put a little bit of glow effect on this. This is a Photoshop glow. Just a tiny bit. Let's zoom out a bit to get that sunlight to really pop in. Hopefully this will show well in HD. If you're watching this, I hope you guys are watching this in 1080 because this will show off quite well. And just put it to full screen. So let me make it full screen on my side so you can really start to feel it. So I'm working on a very high-res screen, a very big screen. So I'm on a right now a 30-inch screen. So this thing fills my entire peripheral vision, so it's in everything I see is this. So it really puts you in the mood, and it really helps when you're working on, especially environments, I think, because it puts you in the world. Because your eyes have nowhere else to go. When I do this, I can't see anything else but this painting. So it puts you right inside your own paintings. Versus like I have a 17-inch Apple laptop. No matter how I paint, I'm never in it because I can see the room. I can see the desk around me. So when I go home, I hook that sucker up to a 30-inch monitor as well. The cinema displays, because the laptop itself is very, very good. It's very powerful. That's kind of cool. Let me erase out some shadow areas so it's not all blown out yellow. But this is the center of attention. This is where I'm going to do my focal point for the painting. So whoever's looking at this painting, hopefully their eye will go here first and not down here or something. This is looking kind of flashback-ish. It's kind of cool. It's really fun to do these, by the way. For even though I'm just doing this as a demo for you guys, I'm having quite a bit of fun painting this because it's such a nostalgic thing. I probably played this game when I was like, I don't know, 13 or something, or probably younger. I have no idea. This game like Space Quest, Police Quest, King's Quest, all those old Sierra games. All right. My first job was almost a Sierra game, actually. Was working on King's Quest. I'm kind of glad I didn't do it because that game I don't think ever shipped. Because that's I started my career in the beginning stages of 3D. So Sierra at the time was still interviewing me for a 2D version of King's Quest, versus EA was interviewing for a 3D version of Wing Commander, which never came out either, actually. But the thing is, I learned a lot more on that project than I think if I went to Sierra down in Yosemite to work on a 2D King's Quest game. And they wanted me to design, if those 2D games, like every single shot is like a 2D render, basically. So the only thing they were doing is they're building the assets in 3D, but spitting out a 2D shot. So that was going to be my job, but I didn't take it. I'm kind of glad I didn't, actually, because it was kind of in the middle of the company was in the middle of Yosemite, which is a national park. You can only get there by small airplanes. So. Alright, I think I should talk about some other stuff here besides jabbering about randomness. But that's what I do when I paint. For some of you guys watch my videos, you notice that I like to keep myself occupied with other talks or listen to music. In this case, I have no music or anything else coming in. Only talking to myself here. So I gotta keep my mind a little bit more distracted. When I'm too into it, I tend to mess up. It sounds very bizarre, but that's the way I like to work. I don't like to be, for example, let's just be 100% quiet like this, right? Let's test it for like a minute. All right. I can't even take that. It's too long. You know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as I start doing that, my mind starts going to like, okay, what's going on here? I get too tight. I like my subconscious to paint for me, to draw for me. That's just the way I like to work. If it's too quiet, it's like, oh man, this is like, it's killing me, the silence. Right. I'm always used to working in a noisy environment. Like at home, I don't watch TV, but like I said, I like to keep it on. For those who I probably mentioned this a few times, so I can listen to it, like Modern Marvels or some History Channel show. And History Channel is always about World War II, so there's always like something World War II on History Channel. So, and that's always something quite interesting to listen to. So you just listen to World War II stuff all day. Or you put on Animal Planet, and they'll have something with Steve Irwin or something. It's always something kind of interesting to learn. All right, and that noise keeps me occupied because it will be like, David Attenborough talking about bats or something, and then your brain kind of wanders off into the life of a bat, and then meantime you're painting this painting, and the subconscious sort of does it for you. All right, let's put more branches in here. Let me zoom out slightly because I can't see the Camtasia recording thing anymore. What the hell happened to it? Usually it draws it onto the screen, but right now it's not. So, but just in case that it's not screwed up, I don't want to be painting the last 25 minutes and not have recorded. I am going to pause it for now, take a quick break, and continue. So let's see. Let me just put it to full screen here. All right, let's stop it for real quick. Okay, and I am back, and we did record it, so that's good. I didn't waste 25 minutes painting something that wasn't recorded. All right, so let's just continue. What was I talking about? Watching TV or something? So I'll start just babbling off about stuff while we paint. But let's go back to the painting. I need to add some stuff. Some stuff I don't have here, which the original has, is some of the rope things. Quite interesting. I'm not sure about the hot intensity of the brown. It's quite saturated. So I don't know if I want to throw that in just yet. These banana leaf type of stuff, I want to throw that in there. I think it's kind of cool with the kind of more greenish center, and also try to capture some of that subsurface scattering that you get, like say in wax or candles, or even your human skin, like your ears. If you could capture that, it could look cool, but that's pretty hard to paint. But let's just put some of that. Let's just at least put it in for now. Some leaves. So I'm gonna put that in here. This brush sucks for that. Let's find some other brush. I don't know. Let's try this one. So you can see I don't fall in love with any of my brush. It just, you can lasso this too. Let's just paint with a lasso here. Can you guys see that? I hope you guys can see that. That's just lassos. All right, near leaves, bunch of leaves. They should grab towards gravity, so they should go for that. I'm gonna hide the selection, take my airbrush here, and just like paint that in. So you can see here, I'll get that subsurface scattering, in there. Right. It's kind of cool. Whoa, too strong. And let's do a few more. So Photoshop is like this infinite tool. It's like there is no wrong way to do anything. Well, did I say wrong or right? There's no wrong way of doing anything. As long as it looks good, try it. All right, so you can use all sorts of techniques in this awesome software. Big leaves. Okay, and then hide that selection. You don't have to hide it. I just hide it because I don't like the little swervy animations that it makes. Let's try to get a little bit of scattering going on in here. Subsurface. Why can't I say it today? Subsurface scattering. All right. That's when the light goes in and scatters. That's why it's and scattering under the surface, right? So light penetrates the surface of your skin and then gets scattered and then escapes back out, creating this kind of interlit look, right? So your ears, for example, look like it's glowing from the inside because the light inside scattering itself. So that's what it is. So these leaves do the same thing. Light will penetrate through in certain areas and will not penetrate through in others, creating this very, very nice effect. And some video games actually could emulate that quite well. I think maybe Crysis did a pretty good job with that. I think the recent Far Cry 3, I can't talk today. The Far Cry 3 does a pretty good job with it as well. In which you look at a piece of palm leaf and it's green, but if you look through it in sun, then the sun is actually going through the leaf, creating this kind of glowing effect within it. All right, so that's kind of neat. And the thing is, I have one, so I'm just gonna copy and paste and make a few other ones with it. Save some time. I got this horrible airbrushy thing in it. Let's erase that out. I have no idea what that's from. I think that's by accident. All right, drop that sucker in there. Let's do a few more. Can't use this too many times. Use it too many times, it becomes like you can catch the repetitiveness of it. So I can also just kind of mirror it, so you can't catch it as well. Yeah, it's kind of ugly. Let's put it over here. Shrink that down. Time, okay, 3 minutes in. So I think in total we're only 20 minutes into this painting, so that's still okay. I want to make it maybe an hour long, this video, so still got plenty of time. If I did my math right, 4 minutes plus 17, okay, plus 5, all right, 25, something like that. Okay, let's do a few more. You can do this with a brush, for example, and I'll show you guys how to do that. So I'm just gonna collapse out those. Before I collapse it, let me do this because I'm on a layer. So since I have it on a layer, let me undo those. I can select those suckers and change the color. So like that way they're not all the same value. For example, I could get some cool, nice blues in that sucker. Highlight this dude and put some other blue in there. Kind of too much. Go back to dark. All right, let's break that out a little bit. So we have some silhouette breaks. So here's some silhouette breaks. So you can really read the leaf. I don't want to overdo it though. All right, what layer am I on here? Okay. So we get some little bit of a leaf break. What's this guy? So let's get that guy here and brush. I don't know what color to put in. Let's put a little bit yellow in there. And you can also airbrush with you could put it with another crazy brush like this kind of stuff to get textures. See? So like let's do it with this piece or the big one. Let's do it with the big one here. So it's very very soft in here. Let me just push in, right? So I'm using a different brush here. So just give it a different texture. Kind of interesting. So many tricks you can do in Photoshop. I mean, it's like unlimited kind of things. So you get that spot of sunlight. And for example, on the roads, you could do. Let me just collapse all these suckers. All right. Let me do it on the road. So want a nice pathway. Boom, boom, boom. Put that. You know, these kind of thing. Okay. I'm getting a little too messy here. Whatever. And I'm gonna do it on a layer. And I'm just gonna paint some stuff in it, like shadows, for example, right, from leaves. So I'm gonna pick a darker blue. And just gonna put some of that stuff in there. Get a nice little texture and then have some stuff go through it. You can see it works quite well. Right, we could do it for the this right here. Let me collapse that. New layer. Lasso some reflective light from the below and maybe some shadow passes from above, from leaves and plants and branches, right? That's the beauty of these forest paintings, that you get so much light play. There's so much shadow potentials because you could just make it up, because you could say any of these branches can make a shadow anywhere a sunlight can sort of pop in, right? So you could have a lot of fun playing with lights. All right, so I'm gonna get some bounce light in there, nice textures. Where did it go up here? There it is. Let's get some nice shadow passes on those suckers. All right, maybe back here. And it's just some random brush that I'm using to get that texture out. Something like that. All right, so it's a combination. All right, that's cool. All right, time to check our values. This is pretty saturated image, but that's what the original sort of is. As you can tell, I'm not sure if I want to keep it like that though. Let's see. I'm gonna darken up the edges slightly. I'm gonna use let's use a multiply. I'm just gonna darken up this edge a tiny bit, so we can focus on popping this light out. Green is one of those hard colors to paint, especially in the traditional sense, because green sits in the middle of the color spectrum, right? You got the orange and the reds on one side, you got the ultraviolets and the purples on another, and blues, right? So green is right in the middle. So green could take on warms, it could take on cools, in terms of its temperature. So it's quite a difficult paint to paint, and depending on the maturity color on your painting, that's usually the color temperature green takes. So in this case, this will probably be a pretty cool green. That'll be a cool yellow, because my entire scene is in the cool color shifts. So at least that's the best to my understanding of how that works. Okay, let me see. Let me desat this guy down a tiny bit. Yeah, that's too much. Let's just desat a little bit. 4 or 5%, good enough. All right, I'm gonna do a quick value check, which means put the black on top, put on saturation, and we can tell that the bottom branch here is a little bit light. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on multiply, let's just take some big brush, and I'm gonna apply some blue values on top. I'm gonna do that in black and white. Now I'm not gonna touch the sunlight because that part is lit. What I'm touching is the base of this branch, and then delete out with the same brush, I think, some of the bounce light from the bottom, because we are dealing with a cylindrical form. So cylindrical forms, that goes back to, again, fundamentals. They have certain ways of light reaction. Right? They have a core, highlight, and bounce. All right, tree branch goes in. So these paintings, right? In most cases, you know, again, there's nothing that's completely like solid case. But in most cases, if it looks good in black and white, it'll probably look okay in color. So in this case, I'm trying to make the black and white look alright. I hope. Being kind of sloppy. All right. This reminds me, remember I was just earlier talking about watching Discovery Channel or History Channel. History Channel is like, they should just call it the World War II channel. And then like HBO, when I was growing up, those showing Beastmasters all the time, like all the time. Remember that movie? So it became like, oh, Beastmaster is on, HBO. So funny joke. Maybe some of you guys get it. All right, so let's see. Let's put some of this. That's looking better. So this is before. It's after. Before, after. Before and after. Before and after. Before and after. All right. This stuff is fun to do in real time because in fast forward it just becomes like this bad frame rate capture. You just see things flashing in and out, which if you watch some of the older videos, it has that effect. And probably people are thinking it's a syncing issue with the video or something, but it's just me turning things on and off because I do it very quick to check. What else do we need? Let's look at the original. We need the dude running. Let's put that in later. Let's put in. Let's give the roping thing a try. Let's put in a few more veins. Oh look, there's like a flower or something. I think that's a dead dude. I don't know. Let's go back to my video just to see if we left anything out. That's kind of neat. What the heck? Oh, what is that? What is that? Glowing green. What? I have no idea what that is. Like a green fire thing. It probably just stops you from going forward. That's probably what it is. And then there was I saw it like force field bridge, if I wasn't correct here. What the heck's going on? Let's see. Oh, that's kind of cool. You see that? You guys see this big leaf? Pretty neat. But I don't think I have space in my painting to put that guy in. That's pretty cool though. What's going on here? Alright, what's that? I think it's a gun. Some kind of auto turret. I don't know, I think. Let's see. Alright. Okay. What? Crazy. Oh. Whoa, it's like Far Cry 3. Check it out. He threw a rock and the dude's went over to check it out. And then he's hiding in the trees. Oh, that is an auto turret. He just got shot, but he didn't die. Alright. Acid dripping from pipes. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Oh, look at this. That's cool too. There's some kind of thing strapped to a tree. Alright, we got enough stuff. Let's go back here and see if we could do something about it. Alright, I'm going to do this on a layer just in case it comes out horrible. I'm going to try to put some of the stuff I saw into my paintings. So we saw big strappy things that's attached to a tree. They of course will get bounce lights as well. They'll have a different color spectrum or a hue to them. I don't even know if that looks good or not. That's why I do it on a layer. When you're trying things that you're not so sure about, that's when layers come in handy. Just some gibberish things that looks man-made, so it's definitely not part of this tree. And then let's get some. Usually, these kind of rope things, these kind of things, I do them later because they're hard to paint out. Like if you really don't like it, then if they're not on a layer, for example, they're pretty hard to remove. So I do those things right before the painting is done. So that way, it doesn't really get in my way. I'm not sure about the strap thing here. Maybe it needs to be hotter. Let's see. Let's bring in this hot yellow. Why isn't it a hot yellow? Picking hot yellow. There we go. Just to make sure that we pick up that section, get some bounce light in that sucker. That will bounce. What is this? Bluish yellow with blue makes green. Okay. So we bounce some green light, right? Because this object's kind of cool in the blues. We got yellow light bounce into it. Yellow plus blue equals green. So we put a little bit of green sucker in there. Does have a little bit of ambient occlusion. When objects get close to each other, they occlude light. In games, they call it SSAO, or screen space ambient occlusion. And we could do the same in our paintings. We do some SSAO. For us, it's free in a video game. Makes your CPU or GPU work very, very hard. Because it's hard to calculate, and because SSAO is very hard to burn into the game. Whereas textures, you could burn some of that stuff in, but SSAO, true SSAO is, for example, you hold a weapon and you drop it to a gun. That gun will then occlude the light on the ground, so you cannot burn that into a texture. So if it was a clean piece of floor and you drop a weapon on it, now that floor will be occluded by, it's not shadow, this is light occlusion, right? So it blocks the light from escaping, and that to do in real time is extremely expensive on the CPU right now, or GPU, your graphics card. But a lot of games have it because those are the little tiny snippets of things that makes things look real. There's a lot more than ambient occlusion, but these are things that video games are starting to emulate nowadays to get games to look more and more realistic. All right, let's put a tree branch in here. Those dangly ropey things, still deciding in my head if I should put them or not. Because you can't cram everything, because in reality this painting is what, 15 minutes, another 17, we're like 40 minutes in or something like that. There's plenty of time to do another one. If you really wanted to show off on those bridges, we could put it elsewhere, or I could put it maybe back here or something, which could work. I'll take a look at how much time I got when I pause this segment. I'll get to about maybe 20 minutes for this one, and then I'll do a pause, stop, and I'll see how long we've been recording. All right. Right now, we're getting down to secondary details now. The first level detail is done. This entire painting, if you look, if you zoom out to about that level, it's pretty much that too. So let's put these next to each other. All right, so that's, in my opinion, close to the same kind of IP. I hope. So at least for this painting, we're there. So now it's the cleanup phase in which we draw details and secondary details. These are things like the bark of the wood, like for example here. Right, get these kind of things, and that is all depending on how much time you got. In this case, like this painting could really be shown if I wanted to. This is presentable already, to minus a person, which I'll put in a second. But it's presentable. It's for art directors especially. They know what you're doing at this point. Put a few more leaves, jungle stuff. And later I'll put some glowing lights on it, just like the game, like some blue lights or some red dots to signal that is definitely man-made. Maybe some of you guys could start a Kickstarter and make these guys remake these games. Right? Or if it's already not being made, I have a suspicion that all these classic games are somewhere in the world, somebody's developing them. All right. Alright, put these guys in, put some more leaves. And I'm using a lasso technique again to do that. Because the edging that way is very clean. You don't have to worry about like brush control when you do that. Just use it. Instead of the lasso, I use that crazy brush I used earlier. I don't even know which one it was. This brush works fine too. Some kind of textural brush, this one. So yeah, I don't have a thing where like you have to paint with this brush, or you have to just, they all work. It's if you have your overall values and composition and structural things in place, you can use crazy brush to paint. It doesn't really hurt anything. So, but some of my brush like these, they're purely for texture work. They're for like messing things up and adding some leaves. Like this one adds like grass looking things. So you can zoom in, you can see. Right, so these are specialty brushes that are specifically made for certain features like that. That just softens up your this stuff here. I'm gonna drop a dude in here shortly, just for scale reasons, so I can know how big this is. And let me check the time, 17:08 minutes. So it's about 2 minutes before my pause. So let me spend a little time developing out here. It's pretty rough out here. I haven't spent time developing that, but this is a 1/4 or 1/6 of the screen space. That's pretty big. So we could fit stuff in there. Oh, that's pretty burned out. That color right there is like a very ugly burn. Too hot. So I'm gonna desat that down a little bit, so it's not this kind of neon color. This painting is already pretty neon, so I don't want too much neon stuff going on. Alright. For some reason today Camtasia is extremely fast. There is no delay at all when I paint. I have no idea what setting I changed, but it is extremely fast today. There's like 0 delay on my brush. Usually there's always this delay. And I'm recording at 2560 by 1600, very high resolution. Super HD if you call it. It's double of 1080. All right. These files, each one is like 3 gigs or so, each recording file. So total is like about 9 gigs of recording. pretty big. All right. All right, what am I doing? I'm supposed to do something back here, right? Totally forgot. See, space out. That's what happens. Because I paint this, now I'm talking to you guys, so it helps. But usually, like if I'm listening to music, I zone off and start thinking about other stuff, like what I gotta do today, later, and stuff. It's all that part of that distraction that I like to do for myself. Let's bring a little bit of that light, this hot yellow. But to go over here, we're gonna lose saturation. So I'm gonna do something to pick that and lose the saturation, increase the value. Still too hot. Let's lose it a little bit more. This wavelength, the saturation drops quite fast, the yellows and the reds. So like if something was red in the distance, it also drop off quite fast. Versus blue is very, very strong. And so we have blue sky, those type of things. All right, let's see. Or the ocean, why it goes so deep and still blue. It's that spectrum of light, color, travels quite far. Okay, let's see. And so the reverse is red, which doesn't travel far at all. So the military uses red, for example, for their nighttime flashlight. They use a red light, so you can still read, but that light does not leave the helicopter, for example, because it's very, very weak color spectrum. All right, let's go in there, and that stuff is important. That's the the fundamental type stuff that sometimes I refer to, because you have to know these little snippets of information to when you're doing this kind of work. Alright, so this is the center of attention. This is a nice little space right here for dropping some leaves, because we have perfect composition for dropping leaves. So let's drop some, because we have a light value. So light value, let's put something dark in front of it. Boom, 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 zoom, zoom, zoom. Okay. It's also week 13 here at the school, so the students are all working on finals, so I have a little bit more time to do some of this stuff for you guys. Ooh, these leaves look horrible. I'll leave it, but let's fix some of them. Doing them too quick. Deselect. Come on, deselect. Let's slow down these guys a little tiny bit here. Make it more like a leaf at least. Alright. Good enough. And let's paint it in with the other brush. What brush did I use to get that texture? It was quite cool, actually. Forget. Let's just use that one. Get some of that in there. Boom, 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 boom. All right, good enough. All right, let's mark this guy in for scale. I'm gonna put him on a layer. Oh, this leaf is not good. It's killing my momentum. Okay, so there's an energy flow here that goes like, let me do a different pen. That goes like that. Okay, there's an energy flows. That leaf kills that. So kill it. Good enough. All right, so your eye don't go boop and then go back down, right? It should go as a whole this way and that way and this way and that way. So you go back to here. Okay. All right. Let me let's drop the guy in first, I guess. Then I'll pause. All right. So let's just get the dude's color directly from here. So I'm gonna put him on a layer. Let's go here. That's where's this? All right. So let's flip it. I'm gonna get this guy to run the same direction. So let's take a brush. I'm just gonna sample that dude's colors. I'm gonna put him like right over here somewhere. This guy's like got blue jeans on. It's just like awesome. So let's put that in here. All right, I'm putting him really rough just for now. What? Let me just copy and paste this guy in here so I don't have to like keep sampling. Actually, I don't even need that. I just need that. All right, good. So I want his like dark jacket. It's a little too bright right now for where he's at. I'm gonna make him sort of run. Oops, I'm putting the wrong layer. Let me just get that out. Put it back here. Okay. And he's got these like purple jeans, man. But putting this guy in will totally become like flashback. Right, this is just an indication. It's super rough. I'm gonna clean him up. Right, he's just a placeholder for now. So that way when I zoom out, you can see that he's sort of somewhere here. I'm not even sure where to put him, so maybe somewhere here, and I'll break them out later. So now this is just a scale reference only. It's got this totally purplish jeans, which I'll try to cool down slightly. It's a little too saturated. Right, and I'll keep them on a layer. This is just to keep my mind that okay, this is how big this guy is. He's got a red shirt. Put a little bit in there. Might flip that just to check. There's nothing great, nothing super spectacular, just because nothing here is refined yet. Something like that, and he's gonna have a shadow, blah blah blah. Right, just keep on a layer, but you can see something like that, and we could then move him around depending on where we think he should go. Most likely he'll probably go somewhere there, and I'll then extract them out later. Okay, so I don't need the top one no more, and I'll keep on a layer. I'll call this dude, just in case. All right, so let me take a pause and see how long I've been recording. All right. Okay, and I'm back, and I checked that we've been recording for about 55 minutes. So I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just going to bring this, let me hide this real quick, the dude, right. I'm going to go ahead and bring it to a more finished level, and I'll come back with a kind of, hopefully, a better final result, because that's going to take, I think, about another hour, and I don't want to record that in real time, because that's just nothing but detail. That's me going in here, and for example, taking a brush, and let's do this on layer, and just painting tiny little things, and it takes a while. You gotta have some patience, and like I said, about an hour or so we should be able to clean this up, and I might even drop some textures in there as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, but before I pause and go do that, I'm gonna show you guys the other paints I've done with a similar kind of remake. So let's open up these guys. So this is original Monkey Island, Ron Gilbert and those guys made. I grew up with this game as well. So you can see this is the original Scum bar. You can see how simple this game is. Very old, probably early 90s or something like that. And here's my kind of retake on the same scene. Tried to capture the feeling of the Scum bar and update that into this, which is a lot of fun. These are quite enjoyable to paint. So let me open up. That's my dog barking. Let's open up one more, this guy and this guy here. This is one of my favorite games of all time, which is called Day of the Tentacles, DOTT. So this is like Tim Schafer and I think Dave Grossman. Those guys made this awesome game. Also a huge influence on my childhood. So this is a little time machine thing with a little evil doctor, and he's using a imitation diamond to transfer them into another time period basically, but the diamond is like cheap, so it breaks and they get stuck in the future. Pretty cool story, and it's an old car, so I took that and translated it into this right here. So we still have the diamond, the old car, and just start painting on top of it, and these kind of porta potties as a transportation device. So these are pretty fun, and these are just done completely out of my own time. They're not for the real project because they're enjoyable sometimes to take a break from the sci-fi cities and those kind of things I usually work on. So all right, so you guys find these on my blog if you ever want to go look for them. So I'm gonna pause the video for now, and I'll be back with a more refined version. Okay, so I will see you guys in a bit. Alright guys, so I am back in exactly about 1 hour later. So I've been working on this, so this is where I left off when I stopped the recording. So let's boot up what I've been doing for the past hour. It's right here. Boom. Alright, so it's not crazy different. If you zoom out, it looks pretty much the same, but if you zoom in, you can tell that I've added some texture work and just refined some stuff, changed the guy, made him clean him up a little bit, his posture. I'll zoom in a bit so you guys could take a look at some of the photo textures I've added, just a little bit here and there, not much. Painted in some grass, define some of the lighting to pull out a couple of areas, refine this alien or some kind of man-made thing here that the original game had, and pretty much overall just threw in some enough details to call this sort of presentable or done at this stage. So yeah, it took about an hour, and one Starbucks drink venti size later, we get this. So let's just take a look at before and after. So this is sort of what we got. This is where we started. But the essential essence of it has been already captured at this stage before I left off, and this is just detail, which is not the hard part at all. So if you zoom these guys out, they're essentially the same thing. Right, I raised it up a little bit as well. This guy here was only about, let's check it, image size, about 4,500. I think I increased this to about 7,000, so a little bit less than double the size. But yeah, there is pretty much the same thing at this zoom level, and here is the original. So let me put these a little bit bigger before you stop this video. All right, just take one more time before and the final here. So you guys could go to my blog to grab this file, as well as the fzdschool.com. So again, I really appreciate you guys watching and subscribing to our channel. So help us out by letting other people out there know that we exist, and it's pretty cool, hopefully, to watch as well. So tell your friends, tell anyone who's sort of interested in this, because we're definitely trying to grow our audience, especially before we relaunch our new fzdschool.com website, which is going to have a lot of cool content for you guys to interact among each other, as well as me via Design Cinema. So that stuff is all coming. So the more people we have, the more fun, hopefully, it will get. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And next time, well, maybe we'll do another real time. I'm not sure yet. Who knows? I don't know. Depends on, I guess, what I feel like on that particular day. But yeah, so again, you could grab this image from my blog or fzdschool.com, and I will see you guys when I see you guys next time. All right, thanks a lot, and I'll see you guys.